Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Best of the 10. The news has been dominated, of course, by one event, the mass shooting at an American university, the worst in US history. A 23-year-old man, originally from South Korea, a student at the university, killed 32 people. In a note he left in his room at Virginia Tech, he wrote, "You caused me to do this." Matt Fry sent this report.
How do you measure the scale of grief? This is one way. The long lines of students trying to attend the commemoration of something that none of them will ever forget. Here too, the campus nurses and medical staff, and the heavily armed SWAT teams. Reassuring today, perhaps, but yesterday unable to stop the carnage. What must they all be thinking? Normally this place resonates to the sound of cheers for the university football team. But this is, of course, a rather different occasion. And remember, this is just the overflow area for the memorial service taking place down the road in the basketball stadium. Thousands of students united in grief and in comprehension for a crime that no one here thought could actually happen. George Bush was here too. A timely response from a man who on occasions like this is expected to become the nation's mourner-in-chief.
This is a day of mourning for the Virginia Tech community, and it is a day of sadness for our entire nation. We've come to express our sympathy.
In a nearby hall where the campus has been turned into a camp for the world's media, some of the most pressing questions were being answered. First and foremost, the identity of the gunman.
That person is Cho Song-hui. He was a 23-year-old South Korean here in the U.S. as a resident alien.
The Norris Hall, where 31 innocent civilians were gunned down in Cho Song-hui's inexplicable rampage. Now America's most notorious crime scene. Broken windows where students tried to escape, and an inkling from the suicide note why he did it. An English student and a loner who blamed the world for his sadness. His writings were so deranged that he was referred for counselling. The victims of the Monday morning massacre were a random selection of a community of learning. 20-year-old Ross Alamedine gunned down on his way to a French class. In the same class, Mary Reed, a Virginia local just 19 years old. 76-year-old Professor Liviu Librescu, a Romanian Jew. He survived the Holocaust, but not this. He saved the lives of students by blocking the doorway of his classroom. Biomechanics professor Kevin Granata, one of America's top experts on cerebral palsy. Jamie Bishop, a foreign language teacher, apparently shot in front of his students. And Daniel Perez, 21 years old, from Peru, killed in a French class. Here's what we know about how yesterday's events unfolded. At 7:15, police were called to the West Ambler Johnston Hall. There, two students, Ryan Clark and Emily Hilscher, had been shot dead. It wasn't until 9:26, more than 2 hours later, that the university sent an email to all students. As classes went ahead, it said only that the university community is urged to be cautious. At 9:45, police were called to Norris Hall. There, 31 people lay dead. And as officers arrived at 9:55, the firing stopped. The gunman had killed himself with the last shot. In the cafes on campus, the students were, as ever, glued to the internet, tortured by the thought that the one email that could have saved lives was sent too late. Outside, we met Chris. He had been looking forward to graduation until yesterday.
When I woke up this morning, I was hoping it was a nightmare, and I turned on the television and just started crying when I realized that it wasn't a nightmare, that it was actual reality.
The student cadets are in full dress uniform. The sound of silence honors the dead. And in the hills of Virginia, a place of learning has been forced to confront actions that defy understanding. Matt Fry, BBC News, Blacksburg, Virginia.